All right. Good morning and welcome to Morning Journal session number 242. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope that you are feeling well, doing well, excited for the day as it unfolds for you. You can always check out Morning Journal if you are up and at 'em right now. We do this every Monday through Friday at 6 a.m. Eastern Time live. If you want to catch the entire experience, you can catch it live in the VIP. Links to the VIP are available for you in your description or show notes if you want to get the entire 2-hour experience. But, if you just want to catch the replays or see me on the screen as I do it, this is a great place to do it. Wherever you're watching right now, thank you for doing that. And, just kind of listen in. We're going to be doing a lot of interaction with the audience that's in the VIP and in the chat on various channels. So you'll hear me addressing folks and welcoming people in. So just kind of sit back, relax, and enjoy. And if you want to, reflect on a few of these ideas, you can do that as well. We got a fun session planned today. We're going to be engaging our imagination to kind of evaluate and imagine the future that we're living into. And the first prompt that we're going to start the conversation with today is, what would the opening scene be if someone made a movie about your life? What would be the most relevant place to start the story? To hook us in and be invested in what's happening with you. So just, it doesn't have to be chronological, With the magic of cinema, we can flash back, flash forward. But what would be a great place if you had to look at where you are right now? Or maybe there's something that you envision for the future and you would want the story to start there, imagining what's possible for you. So that is where we will start. So let me get this screen up so that you can see what's going on and let us know. All right. So Noble gets us started with an action. This is No More Ancient from Armistice Games. Noble says, my opening scene would have to start like a journey through different locations, like following with a floating camera, each location somewhere I've been. My day's adventure would be my start. So it would be sort of a montage following you through different locations. Okay. So we would get an overview of sort of like a preview of what your day's adventure is. And then maybe later in the story, we can learn more about how you got there, how your days turned out or came to be shaped in that way. I could dig it. So for Tim, it would be me admiring my ex while she's resting after a fun time. Just looking admiringly at someone as they rest. And I guess our imaginations could fill in the blanks on what type of fun time was had. We don't need to start with that. It's not that kind of movie. So I think that sometimes when we reflect on the story that we have been living so far, we have all the things that actually happen in our life, right? And these are just kind of like a catalog of events. But when we think about ourselves and the journey that we're on, we tie certain events together. There's certain things that kind of stand out in our mind and give us a sense of who we are and what our life is kind of about generally. There are themes that we kind of pull out that make up what our identity is, our self-identity. The way that we see ourselves is not everything that happens. We are selective. We are selective in what we see. So in most cases, Mikey, I do not answer the prompts. There are a couple reasons why. Sometimes I do. I usually don't, because being in reflective mode myself doesn't really help me facilitate the conversation that well. It'll throw me off of the flow I need to be in to notice everyone and give thoughtful responses to everyone else. So I kind of sit back most of the time. Goddess of Words says, what's the daily goal tab about? So yeah, that's a new feature. I don't know if you were here last month. I was setting a daily spoon goal during the contest, the Lucky Charms event, just to kind of stay on pace with what the goals are for donations during the stream. And for me, the 150 spoon goal was what was needed for each stream in order for me to meet those milestones. But now they've built that feature into Spoon so that I don't have to keep changing it and updating the count. And yeah, they just made it an easy way to kind of watch that. So J-Man has joined us. So yeah, as far as me answering the prompts, I know it can be frustrating at times, and it could be helpful at times for you to hear what some of my responses are. And yeah, occasionally I will answer. I think I answer more often in the subscriber streams, just because it's a smaller group of folks usually, and it's a more relaxed environment. I hope that makes sense to you, Mikey. So we got some other responses here. SOK has given a reply. The opening scene would be SOK lighting a joint, looking up at the sky, zoning out. Flashback 9 years earlier. Me at a psychiatrist's office getting diagnosed with major depression. So lighting a joint and zoning out. And then flashing back to maybe the beginning of that practice. So Divine Nesquik, it would be me, but only like my mouth to my chest, old, braiding my hair, and narrating the beginning of my life and my struggles. So your eyes would not be present, but it would just be the lower half of your face and your hair, you braiding your hair and talking. I wonder how old you would be. It would be like, let me tell you about the struggle I've been through. Life didn't turn out the way that I expected that it would. It's been a long journey. So Esso says, I didn't start smoking till I was 20. And you feel like you started too late. J-Man is just laying here sleeping. It's a rest day. I hear you, J-Man. Sometimes that's necessary. I would like to know how your interview went yesterday, though. I know that you had that planned, so I'd love to know how that went for you. Thank you so much for the like bomb. I appreciate it. So yeah, let's think about, let me know if y'all are good with this one. You can drop a heart in the chat. We're talking about where we would start the story if someone were making a movie about our life. So now we're going to take the conversation deeper. We do have a response to get to. Someone anonymously shared that my mother half sits, half lays on her bed looking out of sorts with a lost days look in her eyes. In the background, her children play, scream, laugh, and create disorder. So a mother half sits, half lays with a lively bunch of children in the background. All right, so we talked about where the story might begin. Now let's imagine what the climactic scene would be. The climactic scene. Now that could be something that you are imagining. It may be a goal that you are currently working towards or an adventure that you are yet to embark upon. So this is all an exercise in imagination. You can base it on your experience, or you can project the life that you are living into right now and what you want to create. But what would the climactic scene be in the movie that someone made about your life? Authorized movie about your life. You gave them the permission. So the climactic scene. What is the point of highest drama, intrigue, action? When the stakes are the highest, what does that look like for you? All right, so I am sitting here. Okay, good job. So yeah, I'm sitting here just kind of rocking, imagining. Noble Ancient has shared the climactic scene for me would be having my 2 weeks from BJ's and get off work for that last time. You give them your notice with knowledge that Armistice Games succeeded to get me home full time. So that climactic scene is turning in that 2 weeks notice. Yeah. So I'm wondering what might have led to that. Like, what was the milestone, the deal that was closed, the game that took off, right? Was there a moment that it was unsure? It didn't seem like it was going to go, and then it took off. Maybe there was an event that you went to, a fair or something where you had a chance to exhibit some of your work, and it took off from there. There's a lot of different ways that could happen. So the climactic scene for Mikey will be my life changing after a bad night of drinking and looking at a possible prison sentence for fighting and disarming a cop. Man. Lucky you, Mikey. If you're fighting a cop, lucky you. You ain't here to. You only looking at a prison sentence for fighting and disarming a cop. Could be a lot worse. You're still dealing with it at the moment and still hanging over your head. So J-Man knocked it out of the park for the first interview, and the second interview was just kind of confusing and weird. So we go through those so Mike is still dealing with the situation. We go through those things and, they just kind of keep weighing on us. But I think, in the best case scenario, we learn from it, we grow from it. Good morning, Wraith. Thank you for joining us. And welcome to Morning Journal. Right now we are imagining what the climactic scene would be if someone made a movie about your life. Sona, it's nice to have you here. All right. So for Mikey, going through that experience, opened your eyes to a lot of things, made you change some of your habits and actions. Wraith says, it's funny because my mom is making a book about her life. Yeah, it can be interesting to think about how you could dramatize your life. What would be the points of the story that would best capture your experience here? All right. We are getting ready to go to our next prompt. We are still going to kind of use our imagination and kind of examine how we are living and what some of the possibilities are. I think with this prompt, you had to kind of envision a future, or maybe just look back and imagine if the story ended where you are now, which event would be the climax of the movie. For the next one, I know that we have a range of ages in the chat, which is cool. I like that. So we're going to answer one more, and then we're going to go to the next one. So nobody answer the new one yet. Let me get SOK's response. So the climax of SOK's story is, in a dysphoric manic phase, I break away from the narrative, my best friend falling in love with me if I worked harder on myself. The story that you are breaking free from is that my best friend will fall in love with me if I worked harder on myself. Breaking free. I feel like SOK's movie would be a really compelling story as a creative person, sort of battling and growing and waking up in different ways. Could be a compelling story. All right, so the new request box. The question: how would you spend your time if you were 20 years old and had plenty of money, so you didn't have to worry about, that, whatever plenty means to you? There isn't a number, but how would you spend your time if you were 20 years old and had plenty of money? So SOK says, I have a pretty interesting origin story. Indeed you do. And it's still unfolding, as all of us are experiencing an unfolding of our story. If we're still here, the story ain't over. All right. So if you were 20 years old, had plenty of money, didn't have to worry about that part, and how would you spend your time? So some of us in here might not yet be 20. For some of us, 20 is in the rear view mirror. So you remember maybe what it felt like at 20. And we know what we were doing with our time, if that's in our rear view mirror. But if we could go back there, how would we be spending that time, knowing what we know now? What would that look like? So when I was 20 years old, I was getting ready to go into the Army. So I don't know, I felt like maybe I was trying to prepare myself mentally, maybe sow a few wild oats. I didn't know what I was getting myself into. But Noble Ancient says, if I were 20 and had enough or plenty of money, I would find a way to live comfortably without overdoing it too much. I grew up never needing for wants, but with no money. So how would you spend your time? Finding a way to live comfortably without overdoing it? I'm not sure if you answer the question. Like, what would you do though? Because clearly, if you have plenty of money, you can be comfortable, but what would you do? What would you do? So 20 with what you know now. Yeah. What you know now, you're 20, got plenty of money. What would you do with your time? Mo is here. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. So Tim says, I would be taking trips and breaking hearts. Taking trips and breaking hearts. If I was 20, I'd be traveling, breaking hearts. All right. So Mikey says, okay, flashback to 5 years ago, not knowing how life is now. I'd be reckless with it, to be honest, and I travel more and would think twice of working. But with this knowledge, it's in the air. I feel like there's more to that, Mikey. Sometimes we forget about the limits of the request box, so we can't get to the point. Yeah, so what would you do? Be reckless. Travel. SOK says not even legal age. No, you're 20. You're not even legal age. But you don't, money is not a consideration. J-Man says, power of hindsight activate. I would get a cheap apartment and start investing, and I'd pretty much live the same way I do now. So, yeah, you just invest. Do the same thing, huh? I hear you. I think it's good to know that you wouldn't necessarily change that much. That has to make you feel good about the choices that you've made so far. All right. So Mikey says, I'd be more responsible, invest, still work, and open a business with an LLC, double it, get out of debt. That's the rest of it. Well, I mean, were you already in debt at 20? Were you already swimming in debt at 20 years old? So if I had plenty of money, I'd get more money. That's interesting. It's interesting that if we have plenty, one of the things that we would do is try to get more. All right, so we're going to take this question. We're going to go deeper into this question. So Mikey says, I would help the family out. If I had plenty, I'd help the family out. I could dig that. All right. So here's another question. Going to the other end of the spectrum. If you were 80 years old, had plenty of money, how would you spend your time? If you were 80 years old and you were good, right? How would you spend your time if you were 80 and had plenty of money? Oh, SO's like, rip. Oh, man. So Tim says, I would be taking small trips and loving many hearts. Taking small trips and loving many hearts. I just destroyed SO's hard work by resetting the request box without checking in with y'all. SOK says, long story short, van life. If you have plenty of money, you live van life. And have plenty of money so you would live in a very restricted and bare bones, not very comfortable way. All right, Noble, you have a good day. Get some rest. So Tim would be doing the same thing. Like, I'll be traveling, maybe a little less, and loving many hearts. So when you were young, you were breaking hearts, and now that you're old, you're loving hearts. So at 80, I would spend my time alone, laying in bed and by the pool, eating healthy but delicious, reading, listening to music, cooking, FaceTiming loved ones. So you want to be alone at 80. Have a little peace and quiet, I guess. Grippage, thank you so much for the like. Nesquik, thank you so much for the like. I appreciate it. So, spending your time. How would you spend it? Didn't have to worry about money, so you wouldn't feel compelled to go out and produce anything necessarily with the goal of sustaining yourself. How would you spend that time? So with the other prompt at 20, I'm assuming there's a level of vitality that you have physically that might not be true for you when you're 80. So there might be different things that you would do. I'm gonna make sure I give SO enough time. I think I'm gonna let SO's answer be the gauge of how quickly we can go to the next prompt. SO says, I want to be tripping when I'm older. So a different kind of trip, huh? Sort of mind trips. So J-Man says, I just move off to a quiet, chill place and just enjoy my life without city noise being more involved with nature. Have my food choppered into my residence. food on the chopper. Man, that's not very earth friendly if you got to get your food flown in on a chopper. You don't want the city noise, but you don't mind the noise of that chopper, huh? Yeah, Mikey. I might have said J-Man because I looked at J-Man's, but then I shared Mikey's, so I had to flip it a little bit. But here's J-Man. J-Man says, if my body holds out to 80, I will probably spend most of my time in nature. Maybe travel to beaches, forests, countries, and try new foods and experiences. Okay. Buff J-Man traveling. SO says, I want to do all the drugs that I didn't do in my 20s. You want to find out, you want to kind of explore some of the experiences that are available to you around the edges and the corners of the possibilities of being human. It's good to explore some of those odd features inside your mind. But the things that we would choose to spend our time doing if we weren't thinking about money, or if we were beyond the need of kind of creating any financial resources to sustain ourselves and whatever it is that we want to do, it gives us a clue to like what we deeply value, and whether if we're looking back at 20 and 20s in the rearview mirror, or we're looking ahead to a later phase in life. The things that we would choose to invest our time in can be a big clue into maybe some of the things that we need to do right now. So Miss Hippie, welcome in, Miss Hippie. Thank you for joining us. We're thinking about how we spend our time, and trying to learn a little bit about what we value based on how we would spend that time if we were not preoccupied with or burdened by, financial considerations. It could be that you would still be producing something productive and financially lucrative, because it's not just about the money. When what you are doing, you still enjoy the work that you're doing, so you would still want to do it. Thank you so much for re-liking the stream and keeping us climbing. Mississippi says, if I was 80, I'd travel. Yeah, I feel like a lot of folks want to travel. It's like there's a variety of different ways that we can travel and a lot of different places that we can go as we travel. Yeah, seeing the world. Tim says, I'd be traveling and loving, just not as much as before. You have to slow it down. I'm a little bit ambivalent about travel. So I don't know, 80 from now is so far. That's what you're gonna have to stretch your imagination. It's not as far for some of us as it is for others. But yeah, I mean, imagine, you would have lived quite the full life by then, right? Goddess of Words says, traveling at 80 just sounds exhausting. Like, go somewhere and sit down. But I mean, if you still have the vitality to do it, I think that it can keep you fresh. And I guess a lot of your answer might take into consideration the life that you had lived up to that point. Well, thinking of it, yeah, I was 7 yesterday, so time flies. It's Exotic Butters is with us, folks. Welcome in, Exotic Butters, and welcome to Spoon. Thank you for joining us. If you got questions, let us know. That's twice as old as you are now, and you're already tired, so. Yeah, absolutely, I get it. Let's jump over to the next prompt. So I know that Mikey was like, I was just 7 yesterday and I'm already, and I'm old as I am right now. So let's play with that idea for a second. Time is the real criminal here. So let's go back, not quite to 7, but let's go back to 8. Take a second and picture yourself at 8 years old. Try to remember as much as you can about you at 8. And offer a bit of wisdom, a bit of advice from yourself at 8 to yourself now. Offer some advice. Think about maybe there's a problem that you're grappling with or a situation that you're dealing with. Imagine yourself at 8 looking at this situation. You can choose whichever one you like, or just like your life in general, and offer a bit of advice from the perspective of your 8-year-old self. What would they say about it? So Mikey thinks that if I didn't have to worry about money, I just relax. So that's the thing. You would think that, but that's boring, right? That's boring. We kind of like to do stuff. I think at some point you can, that gets old. Or maybe not. You could just be a man of leisure. So 8-year-old Tim would say, save that money, girl. 8-year-old Tim was practical. Was 8-year-old Tim practical? Eight-year-old Tim would be like, save that money, girl. Save that money. You're gonna need it. You're gonna need it. Like, her expectations were so high. So Miss Hippie is gonna be 36. So 8-year-old Miss Hippie, 8-year-old Miss Hippie would be like, lock it up and focus on getting stuff done, but have fun while you're doing it. Lock it up. What are we locking up? What are we locking up, Miss Hippie? Yeah. You want to care to elaborate? What are we locking up? Yeah, Miss Hippie, I feel like we need to clarify. What does 8-year-old you know? Okay. So Grim is here. Thank you. All right, so who do we got next? So Divine Nesquik, 8-year-old Divine Nesquik would be all like, enjoy the time you have with the people you're with. Enjoy all the time you have with the people that you're with. So Miss Hippie was hyper at 8. I think 8-year-olds as in general are pretty hyper. And little Divine would be like, enjoy that time. Enjoy that time. So Mikey is misunderstanding. I don't know. Have you tried giving a child advice? It's one ear, out the other. So it's not you giving advice to yourself. It's yourself at 8 giving advice to you now. So F in the chat for Mikey since you used your request box. And you're going to have to try to type it in the chat and hope that I see it. So little SO would say, don't worry about what they say about you. Keep doing your work. Don't worry about what they say about you. Just keep doing your work. Hi, Cookie. Welcome in. Thank you for joining us. So the idea of the way that we saw the world as a child, a lot of times we saw things much more simply and much more clearly than we do now. A lot of times things are pretty straightforward for kids. It's all possibility and imagination. And the things that might weigh you down now would be child's play. But I think that, sometimes we lose some of that. But does 8-year-old me have my same 8-year-old consciousness as I did when I was 8? Yeah. I'm talking about you at 8. You don't know anything except for what you knew when you were at 8. You're not taking anything back to age 8. You're going back to age 8 and speaking from then. Think about your playfulness or your personality or the things that you enjoyed. Look at yourself now through those eyes, and Mikey would be like, yo, kick back, just have fun. Don't be too much of a workaholic. Why are you working so hard? Come on, let's play. So, little goddess, play with bubbles, eat all the yummies, have all the fun. Play with bubbles, eat all the yummies, have all the fun. Bubbles were awesome. So Esso says, 8-year-old me dressed up like a little wannabe businesswoman. Yeah. DG, welcome. Offer a piece of advice from you at 8 to you now at your current age. What would you say? I feel that, Esso. I feel that in my soul. We played business when me and my cousins, we played Who's the Boss? And we take turns having these little fake companies doing like vaguely office type things. I don't know how that was fun, but we did it. I tell my little cousin, hey, get me the Simpson file. So when I was playing, we didn't even have there was like no internet when I was little. So I didn't have a concept of like a modern business. It was all shuffling files and moving paper around. All right. Okay. So we're going to flip over to another perspective real quick. If y'all are ready, you go ahead and drop the heart in the chat and we can get into that. Yeah, let me wait for y'all to drop hearts in the chat. Get a feeling for where we at. Esso says I wear a thick headband that match my collared shirt and corduroy pants. I'm assuming you said you meant corduroy, not corridor. I wear hallway pants. So DG says, hold on, let me give you the full effect. Little DG would be like, don't let anyone tell you what your future looks like. It's up to you to decide. All right, everybody go ahead and drop some hearts in the chat. Drop some green hearts in the chat. Retha is here listening in. Thank you so much for joining us. Mikey says, when I was young, I wanted to be an adult. Now I just want to go back to not being grown up. I don't want my responsibilities. Yeah, there's no freedom without some kind of responsibility, right? So Steve is here from the Hold Up TV. Welcome in, Steve. Thank you for joining us. We're going back to our 8-year-old selves to seek some advice. So think about yourself at 8. What would your 8-year-old self say to you now about what you're doing, how you're living your life? What advice would 8-year-old Steve offer? Yes, Steve, they put a little gold little tally up there, so if you drop a spoon, it'll update in real time, so I don't have to have a spreadsheet open during the stream. I was over there running formulas to keep up with the spoon count during the stream. Now they got it up here automatic. Pandora, welcome in. It's good to see you this morning. All right. Thank you so much for the like. I appreciate it. Open mentality. Thank you for joining us. All right. Do we want to go to the next one? Yeah, that's because that's all anybody is given. Mikey said it still sits at 23 for me because that's how many spoons have been donated. That's why it still sits. If you drop a single spoon, it should go to 24. Somebody just drop one single spoon so Mikey can see how it works. Advice from 8-year-old. Summer's Logan said, that English? What the heck, 8 advice? I don't know. 8-year-old me would tell me, make Mantis cry. Make Mantis cry. That's my advice. So Pandora, it's been a while since you've been here. Well, it's good to have you back, Pandora. It's always great to see you. All right. We got some co-signers on that one. Little Steve would be like, make Mantis cry. All right. Okay, we're going to get ready to go to the next prompt. I will change the background first in case someone is mid-typing. So give it a second and wait for the box to reset before you answer this one. So offer one piece of advice from your 80-year-old self. Oh, okay, wrong one. I went back to the same one. Eso says, I would tell 8-year-old me to loosen up and make new friends, play more, have fun, keep drawing. So here's the one that, the next one we're going to be talking about our 80-year-old self speaking back to us from the future. What would our 80-year-old self say to us now? We are 80, we're looking back. What advice would you give yourself from that perspective? Let me open up the request box and see what we got here. Advice from 80-year-old you. Mississippi's like, get off my yawn. Summer's Logan says the advice is to put some bounce in your step. Put some bounce in your step. Get consciousness of that bounce to make moves without overstating situations. Gojo, welcome in. So overstaying situations, get a move on. Don't wear out your welcome. Keep it moving. So, advice from 80-year-old you to you now. All the wisdom that you gained to make it there. Use your imagination and think, well, what would I care about then? If I wouldn't be worried about it then, should I be worried about it now? Tim is digging the current song. We are currently listening to Evangelish by Ondulat. I know it's a weird name. I'll have my assistant put it in the chat for you. Unfortunately, I can't link out from here, but you might be able to find it on Spotify. So the music that I play during the morning journal is all from my licensing service that I pay for. But some of the music is also available on other platforms. So Writer's Room has just put the answer in the chat. So Summer's Logan says, what are we writing to the 80s? No, you're writing from the 80s to yourself now, however old you are now. Your 80-year-old self is talking to your current self. Marie is here. Hi, Marie. Welcome in. Thank you for being here. What piece of advice would you offer your 80-year-old? What piece of advice would you offer yourself now from you at 80? So for Tim, it would be, keep going, girl. Just move a little faster. Keep going, girl. Just move a little faster. Yeah. So SOK. At 80, SOK would reach back and say, stop placing your worth elsewhere. Work less and play more and get proper sleep, damn it. The way I'm doing it is like y'all dead at 80. Oh, man. All right, let's see what we got here. Enjoy your body now. Woof. Enjoy your body now. I hear you, Emma. So Summer's Logan, everything's a business. Get out there and get it. Everything's a business. Get out there and get it. Stop being reckless. My bones hurt. I'm joking. I don't know. All great advice. Girl, don't let me live this long. What are you doing? Say 80. I don't know. Hadn't planned on that part. So Miss Hippie says, just be you. Those who belong in your life will love you, will love with you, not for you. Take care of yourself more. Helping others is great karma, but you gotta start living for you, honey. Love yourself. Love yourself. Just be you. Those who belong in your life will love with you, not for you. Take care of yourself more. Helping others is great karma, but you gotta start living for you, honey. Love yourself. Yeah. That's a great admonition. Love yourself. Gojo says, always keep trying, never give up. Where you go, and always accept the fact that you can do anything. Don't let people bully you for who you are, and have a great life. Keep trying, never give up. Always accept the fact that you can do anything. Don't let people bully you. Yeah. So, see, Mikey? See, did it update for you, Mikey? Thank you so much, Tim. Thanks for the coffee and the donuts. All right. So, Goddess of Words says, illegitimi non carborundum. Carborundum. Illegitimi non carborundum. I don't know. Don't let. Oh, that's the Handmaid's Tale again. Okay. Okay. I don't think that's what it says. I don't think that's Latin. I don't think that's a translation. That's a really, really rough translation. Hey, Skelly. Welcome in. Thank you for joining us. Goddess of Words giving us the roughest approximate translation of those phrases. All right. This is our opportunity. We're going to get ready to do a recap of today's session. Legitimate non-conundrum. It's not a problem at all. It's a legitimate non-conundrum. All right. Let's go ahead and get ready to do our recap, shall we? All right. Here we go. This is your opportunity. If you want to swipe over to the right, you can get a full picture of the prompts that we went over. Get the whole rundown. So today we kind of went in a little bit of a different direction. We use a lot of imagination, or I try to encourage you to engage your imagination to envision possibilities for your life. So we started thinking about our life as a movie. We can look at how the story would begin. If someone was telling the story of your life in the form of a movie, what would the opening scene be? What would be the most useful place to start telling your story so that we would understand who you are and get a sense of where you might be heading in. And then we talked about what the climactic scene would be in the story of a life, in the story of your life. It could be something that's already happened. It could be something that you're living into as a possibility for your future. What would that climactic scene be? So imagining yourself achieving a goal that matters to you, or maybe overcoming a challenge that you've already overcome in your life. So looking at our life, the story of our life, we have all the different things that happen to us, and we are not the contents or we're not the product of the things that happen. That's not what makes us who we are. We are a product of the stories that we tell about those things, the things that we attend to, the way that we judge those experiences. We carve our reality out of the infinite sensations and possibilities that are kind of happening around you. You can't pay attention to all of that stuff. We have a selective way of viewing things and understanding the world around us, and we carve our sense of meaning out of that. And that's the story that we're telling. It's not inclusive of everything that happens. So think about the story that you're telling yourself about where your life is, and imagine maybe there's a different way that you can view it. Maybe there's a different selection of experiences that you can put together that are also true, but might create a different way of being for you, a way of being that is more exciting, more interesting, more aligned with possibility, free of some of the things that might be holding you back, and creating the space to kind of have an adventure out here, you know? So Never Rose is here. Hi, Never Rose, it's good to see you. Hope that you've been doing all right. Hopefully we're able to kind of help you find a place of rest, because I know it's really late for you where you are, but I am always happy to have you in here. So we started by talking about that story, and then we used our imagination again to travel to a specific point in our personal history and imagine at 20 years old, had plenty of money. What would you do with your time at 20 if you didn't have to worry about money? You know? How would you spend your time thinking about what your physical capabilities were, what your interests were? How would you spend your time at 20? And then how would you spend your time at 80 if you didn't have to worry about money? What would you imagine your life to look like in that situation? And then we started looking, also imagining advice we would give ourselves from the perspective of a child, from the perspective of someone who is older. All of these are kind of tools for us to reimagine what's possible in our day-to-day experience. How would that work for you? All right, so Ms. Hippie has to get ready to go, and we have to get ready to go as well. To all the folks who are listening over on all the video platforms, and if you're listening to the playback, thank you so much for being here. This has been session number 242. I encourage you, if you've enjoyed watching, listening, that you follow me, drop a like, leave us a comment, leave us a review. All those things help us be found. Also, make sure that you subscribe to the Morning Journal newsletter so that you can stay connected. Follow us on Instagram and get some of these prompts there as well. There are a lot of ways to stay connected, and I hope that you do, and I hope that you have a wonderful rest of your day. So for our VIPs, we still got a little time to hang out, and we got some more prompts to do. So we're going to get to that, and for everyone else, take it easy.